One of the most important, another important aspect, part of having a game plan, I always tell people is you need to have goals and objectives. All of us have goals and objectives. Now, your goal and objective might be different than my goals and objectives. I always tell people, look, what you want to do is you want to be able to figure out something. There's always goals and objectives you have. I mean, some of them could be short-term goals. So maybe you need to buy a new phone in 6 months. You have these probably midterm, short-term, or you have midterm goals, sort of like maybe the next 2 to 3 years, I want to save for a house. Maybe your longer term, maybe 10 years from now, you want to retire. And then I always say you have to have an ultimate goal. Everyone's got to have what I call an ultimate goal. I mean, an ultimate goal for someone in sports, make the Hall of Fame. Ultimate goal for you is probably, I want to retire when I want to retire. I want to be able to have the option to do what I want to do. That's that's what you really want to do when you have goals and objectives. Now, a lot of times if you read about this in our industry, with the financial jargon you read about, they tell you about goals and how to do them and how to do this, and they've come up with all these acronyms, but I actually came up with one I thought was actually even better, because I figured since I like sports and you like sports, why not use a sports acronym? So here's how I look at it, and here's how I always tell people what they should do. You should write this out, just put sports going down, and this will be able to give you all your goals and objectives in detail. So S stands for specific. You need to be specific on what you're trying to accomplish. When someone tells me, Brian, I'm trying to save some money, how does that help me? I don't know, that's not specific enough. If you tell me, Brian, I'm trying to save $100 a month and I want to save $100 a month for the next 3 years. Okay, now we're specific. Or sometimes when people are telling me about how they want to get a faster time in their 40-yard dash, especially for the combine or something. I want to go from a 4.8 to a 4.6. That's specific. I want a specific way of doing it. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, I can go from a 4.8, from a 4.6. So I'm going to have to do what? I'm going to have to probably get some better sleep. I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to train harder. You want to be specific on your goals and objectives. So be specific. P is for planning. We want to plan right. If we don't plan for how we're going to meet our goals, then we're wasting time. We want to have a plan. So how am I going to plan to save $100 a month? Well, let's see here. I can maybe not eat out as much. I'm going to go to my budget. I'm going to look at my budget and go, okay, where can I go in my budget and cut out some expenses so I can save a little extra money a month, $100 a month. That's not too much. That's about maybe a couple dollars a day extra. Where can I find a couple dollars or $3 a day extra? So I have a plan. My plan is, if I'm going to be able to save $100 a month, I need to cut out some expenses in my budget. If I want to go and cut my 40-yard dash from 4.8 to 4.6, I'm going to go and look at some better options to eat or how I can get some better rest. I'm going to have a plan. So O, let's talk about O. O is for options. From my experience over the years dealing with finances, you have to have options. This is what drives me more nuts than anything, is that when you have these planners or someone tells you, oh, you have to do this or you're not going to be able to meet your goals and objectives. Not true. When it comes to sports, I mean, you always have different options you can take. When it comes to options, you need to give yourself different options. You know, for example, you want to save $100 a month? You have options. Okay, here are my options. I can not eat out 5 days a week. I can cut that down to 3. I can wait to purchase this phone for 6 months to a year. I can maybe drive my car a little bit longer. If I do that, I've saved some extra money. Maybe I can cut out on all the coffee trips I make. Instead of spending $5 on a coffee, maybe I get the smaller coffee at $3. And most of the time when we get coffee, I always notice at meetings, no one ever finishes them anyway. So why not just get the smaller one? So you want to give yourselves options. Same if you're going to try to get a 40-yard dash quicker from 4.8 to 4.6. You want to make sure you have options. Okay, I'm going to eat carbs here, but not here. I'm going to, maybe if I run this time instead of this, you give yourself options. If you give yourself options, even if you don't accomplish all the options, at least you have the options to make it work for you. So we have the next one, next after options, is R. R is for be realistic. I can't tell you how many times people come to me, I want to save $1 million. Is that realistic right now? No. You've got to be realistic with your goals and objectives. If they're not realistic, they're not goals and objectives, period. You've got to be realistic. Is it realistic that I can save $100 a month? For most people, absolutely. If I'm making $50,000, is it realistic that I can save $100 a month? Absolutely. If I'm making only $10,000, is it realistic that I can save $100 a month? Absolutely not. So you want to be realistic when it comes to your goals and objectives. I mean, think about it. I mean, you just can't go from a 4.8 to a 4.6 overnight. You got to be realistic about it. Is it realistic that you can do that? Absolutely. That's not unrealistic. Can you go from a 4.8 to a 4.2 and have the new combine record? Absolutely not. So let's be realistic. I'm not telling you not to strive high for goals. I'm just trying to be realistic, because many times when people are not realistic, they fail at their goal. You ever notice all the time, this is what actually cracks me up, every time starting in the new year, people always go, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna work out every day for the next year, and I'm gonna go work out 5 days a week. Realistically, that's great if you can do it, but realistically, most people can't. We have schedules, we have work, we have kids, we have our own schedule. And what happens is we might do it for the first week, but after that, what happens? We now goes down to 4 days or 3 days, and then we don't see any results, and then we quit at what we do. So you want to set realistic goals. You have to be realistic. And next one is T. I always call T for time frame. Whatever goal you decide you want to accomplish, have a time frame. You got to have a time frame. If you don't have a time frame, to me, it's not a goal and an objective. So for example, you want to save $100 a month for the next 3 years. Great. We have a time frame. We're going to save $100 a month for the next 3 years. Now we have a time frame of 3 years. We want to improve our 40-yard dash from 4.8 to 4.6 in the next 3 months. Great. Now we have a time frame. So we want to make sure our time frame is there, because many people don't put a time frame on when they want to accomplish their goals. No time frame, you can't really accomplish goals and objectives, and it's not going to work correctly. And the last one is S. And S I call successful, because I look at it this way. If you can be specific on your goals, have a plan to accomplish them, giving yourself options, being realistic with a time frame, you're going to be successful. It's that simple. And that's what happens with players. You ever notice how players always set goals at the beginning of the year? And they always seem to accomplish it. Think of your favorite player for a second, or players. How do they always accomplish their goals? Think about some of your favorite teams. They always set out for goals. See, what happens is we just don't come into training camp. A football team doesn't come into training camp in July and go, oh, what's your goal and objective? We're going to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't come in practice, you don't come into training camp in July and win the Super Bowl in February. There's goals and objectives, and you go through certain elements to be able to accomplish it. We just don't show up. We just don't show up and think it's going to happen. We got to go through the frame. There's going to be short-term goals. We're going to have mid-term goals. We're going to have long-term goals, and we have ultimate goals, just like a football team. You never hear a coach go at the beginning of the year go, yeah, we're going to win the Super Bowl, period. They go, well, we got a lot of work to do. We're going to start out. We'd like to try to get off to a good start by winning our first few games and be able to accomplish step by step by step. Everything is a step-by-step process. So you want to make sure when we want to accomplish goals, remember the acronym SPORTS. If you put that together, if you put the acronym SPORTS together and fill that, every time you think of a goal, an objective you want to accomplish, think about that acronym and put it in there and see if it fits. If it all makes sense, then you got a good goal and objective. If it doesn't fit, then go back and go, okay, what could I do differently? Is that a realistic? Do I have the options to do that? So you want to think about that. It will make your life so much simpler.